these McLarens are all over me. They got a good exit towards the Vidal chicane. We go, and this could be quite tight. Oh, Mika Häkkinen around the outside. He tries it. Welcome to the penultimate round of the 1999 Heinz-Harald Frentzen World Championship mission, and the stakes could not be higher. Today we are racing at the Nürburgring for the European Grand Prix, and David Coulthard could crown himself as champion today. But one thing after another. In real life, oh, what could have been for Frentzen? He started this race from pole, led until his first pit stop when he forgot to turn anti-stall off when he left the pits, resulting in a gutting DNF from the lead, and all his chances of closing the gap to Irvine and Häkkinen disappeared. And seeing what happened later that race, that must have been even more disappointing. McLaren got the strategy completely wrong when rain began to fall, Ferrari missing a tyre when Irvine stopped, which meant both were way down the order. Häkkinen managed to at least score 2 points when chaos ensued, as this became a race no one wanted to win. First, it was Coulthard who inherited the lead from Frentzen, who spun out on dry tyres on an increasingly wet track. Fisichella in the Benetton then took the lead, but he spun out too, which meant Ralf Schumacher was now in first place until he had a puncture and went off the track as well. That left Johnny Herbert in the Stewart in the race lead out of nowhere, with one of the craziest podiums in F1 history, with Trulli second and Barrichello third. Luca Badoer in the Minardi was running fourth close to the end, which would have been a sensational result until his gearbox failed, leaving him heartbroken on the sidelines. At least Marc Gené in the other Minardi brought the car home in sixth, scoring Minardi's first point since 1995. So much for the story of the real-life race here in 1999. Go watch some highlights or the full race of that one after this video. I promise it is absolutely worth it. In our season, the goal is clear. I said it at the end of last video and I repeat it here again. We have it in our own hands. If we win the last 2 races of the season, we will be champions regardless of what Coulthard or Häkkinen do. So naturally, the goal is to win this race and do what Frentzen couldn't that day. And I already said it when talking about the real race. Frentzen managed to get his first pole of the season here, so we will go into this race with an advantage over the 2 McLarens, which will be absolutely ready to hunt us down. But the weather will play a big part this race, as it did in real life, so don't discount anybody, not even those on the back of the grid, as this race could be anybody's. It is time to go racing at the Nürburgring. Well, here we are then, and what a view it is down towards turn 1. Lights go green and we go racing at the Nürburgring. It is an okay getaway. Eddie Irvine is alongside us, having a little look into turn 1. Naturally, we have to leave him the space on the inside, and he uses that to make it past ourselves for the moment. Side by side we go through the Mercedes arena, which actually didn't exist back in the day, but unfortunately there is no period correct track version of the Nürburgring AMS2 yet, but at the end of the Mercedes arena we managed to retake the lead of the race from Irvine, as he's still all over our rear wing, and we have to defend from the number 4 Ferrari, which has become the lead Ferrari, although it was Mika Salo who won Ferrari's only race this season so far. And as you see, we're already pulling a bit of a gap, but everything we do right now, well, can change quite quickly. You see, still the weather's pretty nice, but that can change quite quickly at the Nürburgring, and as we always do, we're replicating, or trying to replicate the real weather of that race. That will mean that conditions will significantly worsen, as we are pretty late on the brakes through the chicane. We lose a bit of time at the exit there, as I went a bit hot into it. And after the first lap, which is finished now, we haven't really got rid of Irvine in our mirrors. And as we jump ahead in time, that situation has changed for the worse, because still we see P2 in our mirrors quite, well, intensely. And I've been watching the mirrors a bit too much there, as I almost drive off the road. And the thing is that now it is David Coulthard in our mirrors, so the pressure is even bigger, because that is the man we absolutely don't want to see in our mirrors. And if he wins this race, he will be the champion. So we defend into turn 1. Oh, he goes off the track there. Irvine is having a little look. But, yeah, Mercedes Arena, even though I don't like this part of the track, we usually pull a couple of carlings out of them. Yeah. Let's try and manage that gap for the rest of the lap. Well, and this is a spanner in the works. For now, as you're able to see, we were able to keep the gap somewhat stable to P2, but a safety car was called for an incident at the back of the field in the chicane here. Jarno Trulli is out of this race as a result. So no P2 for Prost this time, or at least not for Trulli. And we have to manage the restart. And one thing is, I don't know if you're quite able to see it, but a light sprinkling of rain has begun. Now, this is difficult because we will be the first car to encounter all of the parts of the track where it could be a bit damp. We are very far away from anything that will force us onto a tire change, but it is a bit of a reconnaissance lap every lap from now, because the rain is expected to get worse from this point onwards. As I said, for now it's only a light sprinkling, but enough to do something psychologically to me, because I felt that I was getting more and more cautious, even though it was just a few drops of rain. Yeah, the confidence from the opening laps was gone a bit. For now, there is absolutely no reason for that, because you see the track is still pretty much bone dry. And yeah, I realized that halfway through this lap, so confidence growing a bit here. Lap 9, and this looks a bit different. Also a bit different is the looks of the car behind us in P2, which now is a Scarlet Red Ferrari. It's Eddie Irvine who's back again, trying to chase us down. And well, the light rain still there, not expected to go away anytime soon, but still very far away from a tire change onto intermediates or even the full wet. We have to defend for the very first time from Irvine. Irvine down the outside he goes, and that is quite the easy pals. As I said, confidence is lacking a bit. Through the Mercedes arena there we go, which has been our strong point this race, but we don't find a gap to get into. So for the moment, we have to stay behind Eddie Irvine. I get the feeling that the rain has increased a bit, and into turn 1, the road surface looked a bit more shiny than it did at the beginning of this race. Also, here, always when the sun hits the track, it does look like there's a small film, maybe. So I think wetness of the track is definitely increasing, maybe not on the racing line, but off it, I think we need to be a bit careful. Also, the curbs there looked very shiny. Down the hill towards the Dunlop-Kehre we go, and oh dear! Again, Eddie Irvine, off the road he goes. Big mistake there on the brakes, and that is us back into the race lead, which should make me happy. But then again, it was nice to have Irvine in the mix there as well, to potentially snatch a couple of points away from the McLarens as well. Now, again, it is me versus the McLarens, and these McLarens are all over me. They got a good exit towards the Vidal chicane we go, and this could be quite tight. Oh, Mika Häkkinen round the outside, he tries it, there's a bit of contact, Häkkinen goes off the road, Coulthard is alongside. Oh, Coulthard now in the race lead, we're still on the inside, into the final corner we go, and we managed to just hang on to the race lead there, but this was a hairy moment as both of the McLarens absolutely went for it. But let's look at a replay. So this is Eddie Irvine. Oh yeah, just locking the front right tyre, going into the gravel. He lost a bit of time there, and oh, then he went into the gravel again, almost losing out to his teammate Mika Salo. And now this is the three-way fight for the race lead. And I think, yeah, there is a bit of dampness on the track now. Häkkinen round the outside he goes. Then there's a bit of contact. Yeah, I'm also very late on the brakes to defend. Let's mark this down as a racing incident. And then into the final corner we go. Häkkinen compromised his exit out of the final corner, or out of the chicane. But then on the main straight he gets a run on Coulthard and is now the lead McLaren, which is better news for us. And this is us coming around for the 12th time after the final corner. It will be a pretty long race, this one. 33 laps. Oh, as I lock my tyres a bit into turn 1, run wide, and that is Häkkinen through. And I don't think Häkkinen will do the same mistake as Irvine does. It would be sensational if that same thing happens again, but Häkkinen opens the door here. We don't manage to use that opportunity, and it actually gets a very good exit, and again, we're under pressure from DC. Well, let's see if we manage to stick with Häkkinen at least, as we go down towards the Dunlop-Kehre again, where it looks like the sun's out a bit. So very different parts of the track, very different weather conditions. Classic Nürburgring, actually. Yeah, but very difficult to judge the situation at the moment, but still, no need to change any tyres. If you go onto the inters now, you're doing what Häkkinen did in the real race, and you will be losing so much time and destroy your intermediates or wet weather tyres. And yeah, as soon as the rain then comes, if it comes, you will not be able to use these tyres anymore because you absolutely destroyed them on a dry track. So yeah, what do we do? For the moment, still looking okay, and actually I'm getting a bit more confidence now, as Häkkinen is now the car finding the new track conditions first. Still, I feel like the rain is increasing in intensity right now, and I think the track in parts is getting a bit wetter. Let me jump ahead in time to lap 15. And now I feel like we are getting close to the point where you can think about the tire change, because in parts of the track, and especially offline, there definitely is water, and the rain intensity has definitely increased. If you were not able to see it before, you are surely able to see it now. Even if it's not in the sky or, well, on track, you can see it on the nose of the car. There are a lot of raindrops now. And, ooh, oh dear, there is a very damp track in turn 1. You definitely see it on the track now. There is a mirror of water down in turn 1. And yeah, that has triggered my decision. Oh yeah, definitely. This is time to go for the intermediate tires. Actually, just in time, because we don't have too much fuel to hang on to this any longer, so we would have needed to go into the pits anyway quite soon. It is almost the halfway point, so in terms of fuel, if we go for a full tank now, I think we should be absolutely fine. On fuel at least. With the tire situation, well, we have to see how the weather develops. But yeah, I think coming in now is definitely a good decision, even though in parts of the track it is still quite dry. Dunlop-Kera was one of that. But this is also where the sun shone for a very long time. Here, yeah, there was a film of water in that corner. And yeah, I think definitely this is the time to stop. I'm pretty confident about this. Häkkinen has gained on us, but we have gained quite heavily on David Coulthard, if you haven't realized. He's absolutely gone in no mirrors. So we're a bit of a no man's land in P2 right now. And Häkkinen has actually made the exact same decision as we did, and I think the majority of the field will do the same. So we come in for what is our pit stop for intermediate tires and a full tank of fuel. The slicks go off. Inters go on. We held quite long. 12.3 second stop time. Häkkinen is out ahead of us. Might have even increased his gap. But we leave the track, or we leave the pits and rejoin the track again in P2. And, oh, Häkkinen is struggling out of turn 1. He is taking it very slow on those new inters. I mean, he should be able to go much quicker, shouldn't he? He absolutely is lacking confidence, while I feel quite well on these inters now. So, the fight for the race lead is back on. Well, and would you take a look in that? In parts of this track, we are absolutely much quicker than Mika Häkkinen. And right now, it just seems like finding a place to go alongside. I've tried it out of the Dunlop-Kehre. Did not quite get the power down there to properly fight him, and I would have been on the outside for a very quick corner. But now towards the middle chicane we go. We are pretty close to him, which means we have a face full of spray, which is not ideal. Also, I've been lifting a bit there to try and get some visibility. Don't dare to go hard into the Vidal chicane, but we were having a bit of a look there into the final corner, and he runs a bit wide. I get a much tighter line, and we are alongside. We are side by side on the main straight, giving the fans here on the main grandstand a proper show, a proper fight into turn one. Again, Häkkinen much braver on the brakes, but this here is the part where he is struggling so much. We have lost a bit out here by being early on the brakes in turn one, but again we are back all over his gearbox, taking a very wide line here, but then power down inside line for the exit of the Mercedes arena, and we are passed back in the race lead. And now, well, let's see if he gets another attempt. He has a little look, but from what we've seen after the pit stop, I think this now should be a job of managing this race, sticking it on the track, watching how the weather develops, because we are already having a couple of car lengths on Hamilton, and we jump ahead in time. I said Hamilton, Häkkinen, I mean, of course. We already have a couple of car lengths on him, as I'm starting to get ready for presumably maybe one more pit stop. Because, well, as we lap a Minardi, there is another, I wouldn't call it issue, but there might be another turning point in this race. Because you can see the track is still pretty wet, so we're still on the right tires, but there is no new rain falling at the moment. The rain has pretty much stopped as I run deep into turn one, which means we need to be ready to maybe go for another pit stop should the track get properly dry towards the end of this race, because we do not want to be caught out by those behind us stopping for the dry tires again, while we're still out there on the slower intermediates on a drying track. At the moment, as you see the spray, absolutely no chance. It's almost close to full wet territory at the moment. But as the rain has stopped, no need to change for them. The Inters are still the absolutely right tire. Well, skies have cleared again, and still there is a bit of a damp track with what is 6.5 laps to go, as we're running right now. But on parts of the track it is getting drier and drier. Still definitely intermediate territory for the moment. And the good thing is, well, I say the good thing, it might also be a challenge, is that we are catching some more lapped traffic, which of course can cause trouble, but it also gives us a nice indication of what the AI is doing in Automobilista 2 and whether they think it is time to stop. So if we see backmarkers stop, chances are Häkkinen and Coulthard behind us might also try it. On the main straight, well, there was definitely a dry line. Here there isn't, so we're still on the right tires, and as longer this race goes, the less likely it is that anyone will change for dry tires, and they might not even have enough time to close the gap even if they decide to do so, as we lap both of the arrows. Well, and I can tell you, as we're coming around the final corner for the penultimate time, no one did change for the dry tires. I think maybe this lap or the lap prior you could have done it, but you still would have lost more time because you had to pit again than you would have gained with the dry tires on this now properly dryish track. So there is a dry line, and I'm struggling a bit with the intermediates as they just don't give you enough grip. As I lap Alessandro Zanardi in the Mercedes arena. So for us, this is now just keeping it on track like we have done for the last 15 laps or so, and finish this race, and then we will be right back in the championship fight. I have no clue how far the gaps behind me are. I have no clue how the order in the top 6, the point scoring positions, is. So we will see that in just half a lap time. But at this moment I didn't consider this. I got really nervous when the track was getting dry and dry because I did not want to lose out by missing a pit stop and by missing the opportunity to stop for slicks. So I got more and more relaxed as closer to the end as we got, and seeing that none of the back markers had actually gone for the dry tires. So yeah, the last 3 laps, all of those nerves, they were all in vain. As we come round the final corner to win again, the European Grand Prix goes to Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who is right back in the championship fight with 1 race to go. And that calls for one thing and one thing only. Let's show some donuts for the German fans. We actually make it the double in Germany. We won at Hockenheim, we won at the Nürburgring, and speaking of German-speaking countries, we even won in Austria. So the hat-trick of German-speaking countries is complete for Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Well, and the news is even better if we look at the race results. We win 34 seconds ahead of Mika Häkkinen, so really no reason to worry for me. Eddie Irvine is 3rd, Mika Salo 4th, and David Coulthard only managed 5th. Damon Hill makes it yet another double points finish for Jordan. And this is it. This is the Drivers' Championship standings ahead of the final race of the season. I kid you not, we are equal on points with David Coulthard, but seeing as we have more race wins, we're actually leading the championship going into the final race at Suzuka, which means whoever finishes ahead of the other on track and in the points is the world champion, unless of course Mika Häkkinen can do something about it. He is also still in that fight, albeit 5 points down, so he needs a bit of luck, but everything is still possible going into Suzuka. And this also somewhat holds true for the Constructors' Championship, where McLaren of course have already won it, but with another win and a double points finish for Jordan, we're just 3 points behind Ferrari, so we might just be able to nick P2 in that championship as well. So, as you see, it's all to play for in the season finale. Subscribe to definitely not miss that, as Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 2 weeks' time could actually become a Formula 1 world champion, albeit in Automobilista 2 only. Leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and I absolutely hope to see you all the next time, and if not there, to see you all for the season finale at Suzuka in 2 weeks' time. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.